Joining us now is Rio Phillips, a 2026 U.S. Senate candidate running as a progressive working class Democrat. He is one of the Democrats seeking the party's nomination for the U.S. Senate. He joins us on Metro News Talkline this morning. Rio, good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, TJ. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely appreciate you coming on. So, Rio, why are you seeking the Democrat Party's nomination for U.S. Senate?
Oh, so many reasons. West Virginia is just hurting. You know, we are 47th in the nation in economy, 47th in education, 50th in infrastructure. And, Shelley No More Capito's been up there for 25 years now. She's become a career politician, and it takes the working class to stand up to her, and that's what we're doing. So there's a lot more to it, but that's a start.
Hi, Rio. This is TJ here. What do you want to do then? Give me specifics. What do you want to change to make it better?
Well, let's start with the water, right? There's too many places that are absolutely poisoned, and there's not enough care and attention being given to these situations. And if we were to just speak about the water alone, it needs more visibility. It needs more care, more attention from elected representatives, and definitively Shelley Capito. She gives the water almost no attention whatsoever. So that's just a starting point. Whether it's medical care, and obviously we believe more people should have access and, not have to go into catastrophic debt for it. So, we stand for Medicare for all. We stand for clean water for all West Virginians, core central issues that we know will benefit the lives of countless thousands of West Virginians.
Rio Phillips is joining us, one of the Democrats seeking the party's nomination for U.S. Senate. How can you make Medicare for all a reality?
Well, it's a budgeting issue, isn't it? Let's look at what we've been spending our money on. For instance, just in September alone, Pete Hegseth blew through $93 billion in 1 month just to make sure that they met their budget for the next year, right? Because if you don't spend it, then you don't get it, and that's how it works. So he blew through $93 billion just in September alone, and then went ahead and asked for $200 billion to wage his war in Iran. I'm saying that these are not the budget points that serve West Virginia ultimately, and that when you make Americans healthy, you actually make America great. And when you educate Americans, you make America great. And that's not something the current administration is invested in, and that's something I will invest in.
Do you advocate for tax increases to make your plans a reality?
Not on the working class. I'm looking at standing with Bernie Sanders when it comes to progressive tax plans on the wealthy, but absolutely not on the working class. They're already overtaxed. I'm also looking at bringing in, industries, hemp industries, and other industries that I think are critical to the future of West Virginia and providing thousands of jobs and bringing us into the 21st century and things like that. So the last thing I want to do is tax the working class. It's about progressive tax policies. And honestly, these quote unquote progressive tax policies are really just pre-Reagan era, pre-trickle down. And, we're looking to make sure that the wealthy pay their fair share. And currently they're getting away with bloody murder.
Talking to Rio Phillips. He's one of the Democrats seeking the party's nomination for U.S. Senate. What is the UHELP program?
Oh, great question, my friend. That is the Unhoused Empowered Living Program. We are building that. I wish it wasn't in the concept phase, but it is. It really came out on this trail. What does that mean? What is Unhoused Empowered Living Program? Well, first off, there's 15,000 homeless West Virginia children just wandering these mountains, unbelievable numbers. And then on top of it, you got the veteran homeless situation, which, contributes to veteran suicide at 22 a day, which I want to eradicate that number. I want to bring 22 down to zero. UHELP is the program to do it. So we would basically purchase up like old Kmart's, abandoned, forgotten properties, renovate them, bring in, really small, tiny home neighbor, like little villages into this space, provide security, provide counseling, and provide all kinds of, necessary resources to these individuals, especially career counseling, mental health stuff, drug counseling, of course. And then the whole concept is no West Virginian left behind. We got too many people out here just slipping through the cracks, and we don't agree with that. And we want to turn it around. So that's what UHELP is.
Is that a federal issue, which would be under your span of control if elected to the U.S. Senate, or is that better
It could be.
left to the state of West Virginia?
I would say both. I'd be pushing for it at both levels, of course, but anything's better than what they just did, which is this public camping ban that doesn't actually address the issue of poverty, doesn't address the issue of lack of services or lack of shelter. So, that's where I take this stand, and I've developed this concept because I believe there's a huge shortfall in the services that are being provided, and I want to provide far more services and really not let anybody slip through the cracks. And that might be idealist, and optimist to some folk, but I don't care. These are West Virginians, these are human beings, and it seems critical to me that if we want to make West Virginia great, we don't let these people slip through the cracks.
Talking to Rio Phillips, he's one of the Democrats running for the party's nomination for U.S. Senate. Rio, the federal government programs are not known for being efficient with taxpayer money. They seem to be struggle with waste and efficiency. Why should taxpayers support more federal spending and more federal programs?
Well, it's like healthcare, right? We currently have it priced out, and it's so exploitative that people are simply not able to function. You've got, I don't know how many, it's large percentages of the senior population of this state not able to live without that, right? So when you, like, say with the big beautiful bill, for instance, or as I should say, the big brutal bill, cut rural health care and you cut Medicaid and you do these things, well, people suffer and people are suffering. So the question is do we want to keep suffering, or do we want to keep America healthy? And we're not healthy. So we're being priced out, we're being exploited, and we're not able to afford where it's taking us. So countless people go into debt. People are just absolutely suffering. And then of course hyperinflation is driving while that's happening. And so you can't buy as much with what few dollars you can get your hands on. And then you've got your minimum wage isn't matching the rate of that inflation, and on and on and on. This is a compounding emergency. So my goal is to bring in the resources, but scale back the expenditures that are too much. Like when we talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, I talk about $93 billion blown in a month by Mr. Hegseth. I talk about how we shouldn't be spending $200 billion in Iran because we were promised no more forever wars. So, we could
So
really go into it.
I take it you believe the war in Iran is unjust. Is that fair?
Well, you can't call it a war because in America, we require congressional approval for that. So I would call it an illegal military action because it's already gone past any sort of terminal deadline. So yeah, we're in the realm of illegal military activity, and we have no congressional approval, no war powers resolution, nothing. So you might remember me back from when we had the No Kings interview, but he is acting like a king, and you cannot declare wars autonomously as the president of the United States.
Talking to Rio Phillips, he is one of the Democrats running for U.S. Senate. What did you mean in a social media post you put on Facebook that said, "I think it's about time we start referring to Benjamin Netanyahu as a death cult leader"?
Well, you got, let's see, just in Gaza alone from October 7th to now, varying projections of how many people are dead. But you're looking at anywhere from 500,000 to 50,000, depending on what calculation, how you calculate it. Mass starvation, of course, targeting of innocent civilians, now happening in Lebanon as well. He is a wanted war criminal at the International Criminal Court. I encourage people to go look up his arrest warrant. He's not welcome in 150, 160 nations around the world, and neither is Vladimir Putin. And these are the two main allies of the President of the United States, and they both have arrest warrants and aren't welcome pretty much anywhere in the world. And I will not be shaking hands with Mr. Netanyahu or accepting money from AIPAC. So I'm actually America First, Mrs. Capito. She is actually taking hundreds of thousands from the Israeli lobby, and she does more work on behalf of them than she does West Virginia.
So, Rio, I get the narrative. You want to run against Shelley Capito, but the reality is you've got challengers in this Democratic primary: Thornton Cooper,
Sure.
Rachel Fetty Anderson, Jeff Kessler, Zach Shrewsbury. So tell voters why it should be you and not one of those other Democratic individuals in this primary.
Sure. It's a strong pack too. The bench filled up, didn't it? Well, I'll tell you. I think I'll just go down the line. Zach rolled himself out with a major scandal, back in August, that should have been investigated by the Democratic Party. It wasn't. It just boiled and festered, and he never really was held accountable for his sexual harassment scandal. So we don't think he's viable. I don't have any credible allegations against me, and I never have, ever. So there's that. Then we could talk about Jeff Kessler. He is over the age of 70. He has not been active in West Virginia politics in over 10 years. Of course, he has some great experience long ago, but, he lost 2 governor races, and he's out of touch with the kids and the youth. So, that would be my position on Jeff. And again, Jeff is a great guy. I have no real objection to him as a person. He's honestly wonderful in person. Rachel, another great leader. She would do a great job. All these people would do a great job, I think, with the exception of Zach Shrewsbury personally. But Rachel, again, she would need to really pick up momentum and do a lot more in order to be viable, and that's just my opinion there. But she's got a lot of great positions. And then Thornton, again, another great guy with a lot of great positions, but he would need to do a lot more and pick up a lot more speed to be viable as well. So that would be how I would respond to that question.
Rio Phillips, one of the 5 Democrats seeking the party's nomination to run for U.S. Senate in November's general election. Just a reminder, the May primary is May 12th. Early voting starts April 29th, and April 21st, 1 week from today, is the deadline to register or update your voter registration status. Rio, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody out there listening, just check out Rio for Senate. That's FOR, not the number.com. And I would love to hear from you. You can reach out to me anytime.
Rio Phillips, one of the 5 Democrats seeking the party's nomination for U.S. Senate.